In this video, we will be solving triangles using the law of cosines. These will be oblique triangles, non-right triangles. Let's spare a moment to think about when we use the law of sines and when we use the law of cosines. If you are given angle-side angle, or angle-angle side, or side-side angle, that's when you're going to use the law of sines. Of course, side-side angle, that's the ambiguous case where you have to figure out whether or not you have one triangle, two triangles, or no triangles at all. On the other hand, if you are given side angle side or side side side, you're going to need the law of cosines. Alright, looking at problem number 1, let's go ahead and draw our triangle. Alright, so I'm going to call this A, B, and C. We're given that angle A is 51 degrees. Side B is 7, so that will go here. Side C is 10, so that's going to go here. Notice this is side angle side, so that's why we're going to use the law of cosines. Let's think about what pieces of information we need to find. We have one angle, but we're going to need to find the measure of angle B and the measure of angle C and side A. Alright, once we find these three pieces of information, we will have solved the triangle. So we are given angle A. So I'm going to start off using the version of law of cosines that involves angle A. So it goes like this. A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of angle A. There's the angle A I promised you. Alright, so it starts off looking basically like the Pythagorean theorem. A squared equals B squared plus C squared. But then there's this sort of modifier on the end of it because it's not a right triangle. So let's go ahead and substitute in what we know. We don't know side A, of course, that's what we're trying to find, but we know the rest. So B is 7, so this is 7 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 7 times 10 cosine of 51. Okay, now we want A by itself, so we will have to take the square root of everything. So in fact, go ahead and put this entire expression in your calculator right now. I got 7.804. Now let's go ahead and find the measure of angle B. So since I'm looking for angle B, I'm going to start my equation with B squared. You know what? I'm going to change ink. Okay, so I'm going to start my equation with B squared. So B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine angle B. Alright, but I know what B is, so this will be 7 squared is equal to A squared, so that's going to be 7.804 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 7.804 times 10 cosine of angle B. So we know everything in here except for angle B. So that's what we need to solve for right now. Okay, so the way we will do that is we need to subtract these two terms from both sides. So if we do that, we're going to get 7 squared minus 7.804 squared minus 10 squared. Alright, I've subtracted these two terms from both sides. Then I would need to divide by this part of the expression to get cosine B by itself. So I'm going to go divided by negative 2, 7.804 times 10. So all of that equals cosine of angle B. But of course, I really want angle B by itself. So if I want to get just angle B alone, then I really need to take the inverse cosine of this, and then that should give me the measure of angle B. Alright, so go ahead and put this entire expression into your calculator now. So I got 44.196 degrees for the measure of angle B. So for the measure of angle C, we could just subtract the two angles that we already have from 180. So I got 84.804 degrees. Alright, that's it for problem number 1. Problem number 2. Here comes the triangle. Kabam! Alright, so again, I'll just call this triangle ABC. We're given angle B is 63. Side A is 16. And side C is 12. What will we need? We are missing angle A, so we will need to find the measure of angle A. We will need to find the measure of angle C. And we will need to find side B. Alright, notice this is side, angle, side. And that's one of the cases where we use the law of cosines. We're given angle B, so we should be able to find side B first. So we will use this version of the law of cosines. B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine angle B. So we know, so B squared equals A squared, so that'll be 16 squared plus C squared, which is 12 squared, minus 2AC, so that's 16 and 12, and then cosine of angle B, which is 63. But we want side B by itself, so we will need to take the square root of everything. So go ahead and put this entire expression into your calculator all at once. I got 15.022 for side B. Alright, let's go back now and find the measure of angle A. Since I'm looking for the measure of angle A, I'm going to start off with the version of the law of cosines that goes A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of angle A. This is how I will find angle A. So side A is 16, so I've got 16 squared is equal to B squared, that's 15.022 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 15.022 times 12 cosine of angle A. So I need to get cosine A by itself. So I'm going to subtract these two terms and then divide by the rest. So if I were to subtract these two terms, that is going to give me 16 squared minus 15.022 squared minus 12 squared. So here I've subtracted these two from both sides. Then I would divide by the rest of what's in front of cosine A. So if I divide by that, I'm dividing by this negative 2 times 15.022 times 12. That should leave me with cosine of angle A by itself. But I really want angle A, so if I want to get the angle out of this, then what I really need to do is the inverse cosine. That will give me the angle, so I will do the inverse cosine of all this, and that will give me the measure of angle A. So go ahead and put this entire expression into your calculator. I got 71.623 degrees for angle A. Now we can easily find angle C by subtracting these two from 180. I got 45.377 degrees. That's it for number 2. Alright, let's go ahead and draw the triangle like kabam. So I'm going to call this angle A, angle B, and angle C. We are given that angle C is 79.3 degrees. Side A is 21.5 and side B is 13. What do we need to find? Well, we need to find the measure of angle A, the measure of angle B, and side C. Find these three things and we have solved the triangle. Let's start with the angle that we're given. We're given angle C, so I'm going to start off with a version of the law of cosines that goes C squared. C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of angle C. So C squared, we don't know that, but the A and B we do. So A squared, so that's 21.5 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 21.5 times 13 cosine 79.3. Now we need side C all by itself, so we need to take the square root of both sides. So square root, square root. Alright, so just go ahead and put all this in your calculator at once. I got 22.967. Kabam! Now let's go ahead and find the measure of angle A. Because I'm looking for the measure of angle A, I'm going to start off with the version of the law of cosines that starts off with A squared. So A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of angle A. Well, so A squared, so that's going to be 21.5 squared is equal to 13 squared plus 22.967 squared minus 2 times 13 times 22.967 cosine of angle A. Alright, in order to get cosine A by itself, we need to subtract these two terms from both sides. So that's going to leave us with 21.5 squared minus 13 squared minus 22.967 squared. So now I've subtracted these two away. But then we need to divide by this part that's still in front of cosine A. So I'm going to divide, and that's going to put it in the denominator like this. Alright, so that should get cosine A by itself. But of course, I don't want cosine A, I want angle A. So if I want angle A, I need to do the inverse cosine of all of this. Whoa. Technical difficulties, man. So I need to do the inverse cosine of all of this, and that should give me the measure of angle A. So go ahead and put all of this in your calculator at once. So I got 66.905 degrees. That just leaves angle B, which we can easily find by subtracting these two angles from 180. So I got 33.795 degrees. And so there we have just solved triangle number 3. Let's go ahead and solve one more triangle on this video, and we'll call it a day. So problem number 4, let's go ahead and draw our triangle. Okay, so I'll call this angle A, I'll call this angle B, and this will be angle C. So they gave us angle C is 160 degrees, and side A is 25, and side B is 30. Notice this is side angle side, so that's why we're going to be using the law of cosines. Now, what are the pieces of information that we need to find? We need to find the measure of angle A, and we will need the measure of angle B, and we will need the length of side C. Okay, so once we find these three things, we will have solved the triangle. So since they gave us angle C, let us start with the version of the law of cosines that starts out c squared. So c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of angle C. Okay, so that means that c squared is equal to 25 squared plus 30 squared minus 2 times 25 times 30 cosine of 160. So we want side C by itself, so we need to take the square root of both sides, and that will give us side C. So go ahead and put this entire expression in your calculator all at once. So here I'm getting 54.171. Now let's go ahead and find the measure of angle A. Since I want to find the measure of angle A, I'm going to start off with the version of the law of cosines that begins a squared. So a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of angle A. So A is 25, so we've got 25 squared is equal to 30 squared plus 54.171 squared minus 2 times 30 times 54.171 cosine of angle A. So we need to get cosine A by itself, so I'm going to subtract these two terms from both sides and then divide by everything else in front of cosine A. So if I subtract these two, then that is going to give me 25 squared minus 30 squared minus 54.171 squared. Now if I divide by everything in front of cosine A, that will look like this. All over negative 2 times 30 times 54.171. Alright, so that should leave me with cosine A on the right hand side of the equation. But of course what we really want is just the measure of angle A. So if I want to find the angle, I need to do the inverse cosine of all of this. So if I do the inverse cosine of everything, then that will give me simply the measure of angle A. So go ahead and put this entire expression in your calculator all at once. So I'm getting 9.084 degrees for angle A. Now we can easily find angle B by subtracting these two angles from 180. I got 10.916 degrees. And that's it. We have solved triangle number 4, and that's going to do it for this video. I hope it was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.